On this episode of the Pit Therapy Podcast, and while dealing with technical issues, we talk about the UK band Neck Deep. We talk about where they fit in the pop punk dynasty compared to bands like Newfound Glory and 4 Year Strong. Thanks for jumping on, and let's open this pit up.
Somebody hit somebody! So welcome to this week's episode of the Pit Therapy Podcast with me, Trevor, and I've got Kyle and Josh with me. What's up, dudes?
How was the show last night?
Let's get right into it.
Let's get right into it. So before the technical difficulties, I was saying I went to Dying Fetus, The Acacia Strain, Despised Icon, Creeping Death, and Gates to Hell. And dude, it was awesome. I was going for The Acacia Strain. They are a weird band for me. So I don't typically listen to The Acacia Strain like on their albums, but I love The Acacia Strain shows. I've seen them, I think, 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
And they're always so sick and so fun to see live. Like, they're phenomenal. So
They're a heavy band.
So heavy. And just like the energy they put out, like Vincent multiple times said the Acacia Strain is meant for participation. Like, often he was like, everyone come to the front, everyone move, everyone open up. He's like, if you've never headbanged before, bang your effing heads. Like, he was just like, everyone move. And no lie, like the entire room was just moving side to side. Like, everyone was doing something.
You know, what I find funny whenever I've seen him live is that he's so awkwardly tall.
Yeah.
He wears like this giant hoodie and little tiny shorts.
Dude, he's a skinny guy too. Like, early 2000s, he wasn't as skinny as he is now.
Yeah, so I remember being like bigger.
Yeah, he was intimidating back in the day. Now he's like, he almost looks like a runner, like a lurpy runner kind of dude, but scary as heck still, man. Like, interesting.
Yeah, I just remember their shows being bonkers.
Oh, yeah. And Salt Lake loves them. Like, kids showed out for the Acacia Strain.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So I was starting to say, though, this was the most like the best mix of like metal and hardcore kids that I've seen in a really long time, where everyone really respected, I guess, for lack of a better term, each other. Like, we have forever said Salt Lake doesn't circle pit. You know, there was circle pitting, there was moshing, and then there was kids in the back swinging and dancing. Like, everyone kind of found their space and did their own thing, and it was fun.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make a bumper sticker like the coexist ones, and it's gonna be the different like moshing styles. Because we should all coexist. Every moshing is welcome.
I went to that black metal show a while ago to go see 200 Stab Wounds.
Yeah,
that's when I kind of caught on that. Like, I guess there is shows where people do circle pit. You know,
right?
It was just a massive circle pit.
I would rather a circle pit. I would rather a push pit than like people just standing there not doing anything. Like, I'm not going to participate in circle pits or push pits, but I would rather those happen and have some energy in the crowd than just people standing there being boring. So,
100%.
There was a Amon Amarth show. Have you ever seen them play live?
And they do the Viking row.
Yeah, they got everybody to sit down in the middle and all did the Viking row.
I hate that so much.
Yeah.
I would row that boat so hard.
Josh is like the boat leader, like out there screaming at people.
El
like,
Capitano.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
Have you seen the guys that
Josh is picking up the person in front of him and throwing him over his head.
Behind.
Like, that's what Josh is doing one by one.
Have you seen one of our friends sent me a video of a guy a pit that everyone was like mining, like they were hitting rocks, you know? Like, yeah. No thanks. I'm all right.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of like these joke pits, right? Like, we talked about the Alpha Wolf ballroom dancing one that happened, the mining one that's happening, the rowing ones. Like,
it's goofy enough. You don't have to make it even more goofy. You know?
I don't know.
Exactly.
We all practice our black belt karate moves, so like I have no argument here. Row a boat, don't
That's
row
what
a
I'm saying,
boat.
though. Is it's dumb enough what we do. Like
Mhm.
But
you
here's
don't have
the
to make it
thing.
dumber.
At some point, when the invisible ninjas show up, those will be useful skills.
It's true.
It's important to stay up on those skills.
Do you remember like super iconic moshing shirts back in said day? And one of them was "No Karate in the Pit" and had like the red circle with a line through it, and like somebody doing a spin kick. Do you remember
Did you
ever seeing
spinning,
those?
did you no? But did you spinning heel kick them or something?
No, but I really want to buy one now
Yeah.
and wear it
That's
to
hilarious.
shows, just to
That's
cause
really funny.
just to cause tiffs.
That's funny because we are talking about doing merch that would kind of mock some of the stuff that's going on. So I think that that's pretty funny.
Yeah,
So, but I wanted to ask you guys one of the most ridiculous things that I saw last night, and I need your guys' opinion on this. I consider it ridiculous. During Dying Fetus, there was about a row of like 3 people to the barricade, and then people were lifting people up to go crowd surfing, but literally by the time they lifted them up, and security had already grabbed their hands and was essentially just like they were just like getting picked up and like drug across like 3 people and then set down, and then they'd run around and they'd do it again. So there was like no real crowd surf. What
really.
is how deep do you have to be for it to be acceptable to be thrown up onto the top of people?
Was it like a thick crowd though, or
No, that's what I'm saying. It was about 3 people deep, 3 chest widths deep. So by the time that they got picked up, security could already grab them.
like the whole
and
crowd
throw
was
them.
like that? The whole crowd was like that, or just where they were getting lifted up.
So the pit was pretty close to the barricade. So there was only about 3 people, and then there was the
Mm.
pit, and they were standing in the pit picking people up.
See,
Mhm.
I don't know that I'm crowd surfing there, but I'm probably climbing on people's shoulders to get the mic.
Okay.
Right.
So that's where I went with it. I'm like, if you want to go and like hoist yourself up and like try to get to the front, I'm all for it. Now it was Dying Fetus. The vocalists are the guitar player and the bass player. So there's no way to get a mic. Like, no lie, there was probably like 20 plus people who got picked up and handed to security, set down, run around the barricade and do it again. Like, it was ridiculous.
I would say that's like a good beginner crowd surf, I guess. I'd be
Okay.
like, "You've never done it? Like, this is probably when you should do it because if we got to make like a quarter-mile stretch and I'm going to lose you through the show and you're probably going to lose your wallet and your phone, sorry."
Dude, I'll have to post this video. When I went to Comeback Kid, there was they must have hired security guards that like had never done this or seen any of it, and it was kind of the same crowd what you're talking about, like 3 rows deep or whatever. Well, the singer from Comeback Kid comes down and stands like on the barricade. Well, people start dogpiling and climbing up, and the security guy stands up like he's trying to grab people, but then the Comeback Kid guy puts his arm around him and like holds him there. So they're like rocking while like together while the crowd is like dogpiling on top of him. And the guy's just like laughing because I don't think he'd ever seen anything like that. And that was a cool moment, you know?
That was dope. See, I was hoping that Vincent from the Acacia Strain would have stepped down because I think that had he stepped down, I think that would have happened for the Acacia Strain. I think it would have been a ton of fun to go and like climb on top of people.
I'd be curious to see like what contracts are for bands though. So like the headlining band was Dying Fetus.
Yeah.
So say if that was like one of the like I don't know
Stipulations
where it was like don't cause any problems, so we'll have to let you leave the tour or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah,
I know
you,
that.
I mean,
did you hear about that?
The
with,
least violent thing that happened.
That's true. So two funny things on that. Drain with their tour earlier this year actually paid venues extra money to remove the barricade.
Oh, really?
And I thought that was dope. The other thing, let me see what band it was. Hold on. Body Snatcher. Did you hear about that? Where security shut down the show because they weren't letting kids mosh or crowd surf or anything. And so they came out with this statement saying like, hey, we had done like a safety meeting before and had said like, hey, people are going to mosh, people are going to crowd surf, like let it go. Don't intervene. Like
Oh, I
And I
did see
guess
that.
security did like started grabbing kids and throwing them out. Like if you crowd surfed, out. Like the guy from Parks and Rec, like straight to jail, straight out of the show. Like if
Yep.
you mosh, if you crowd surf, straight out. You know?
The dude from Argentina.
Yeah.
Is that what you're
Yeah,
talking about?
yeah, that's what these security guards were like. You jump up and down, straight to jail, straight out of the show, you know. But it's stupid. So the last two bands just walked. It was We Came as Romans, just walked
Yeah.
off. They're like, we're not playing the rest of it. So
Yeah, that was back east, right?
yeah, Rhode Island, I think.
Yeah,
Well, you know-
I did see that.
So I know, at least it used to be this way. If the headlining band didn't play for whatever reason, that like venues, I think by law had to give the money back. So like if you got a ticket and it said like We Came as Romans featuring blah 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 blah, We Came as Romans did not play, they had to refund you your money because that's the event that you paid for. I think things have changed now.
That
But, like-
happened in Rhode Island.
like
Posted
so when,
and it was refunded.
yeah, so there was a huge tour that came through here 13 years ago, and For Today was the headlining band. Well, all the bands got food poisoning besides For Today. And so, like, For Today had basically called the venue, was like,
Tomatoes.
we're not going to come play unless you put X, Y, and Z on the bill. And one of them happened to be the bands I was playing, and that's kind of how we found out the whole ordeal. It was like, well, if you guys don't play, they won't play, and if they don't play, then I've got to pay all of this money back. And I was just like, sucks to suck, doesn't it?
I think the most important thing in that story is people have learned the importance of not eating at Beto's in Salt Lake City, because I guarantee you that's where they got it from. So
No way. It's when they started putting in the Rancheritos. That was
Okay,
the
that's
real
true.
problem.
That's true. The fact that you could knock off Beto's with Rancheritos, it's like, it's a new kind of low, you know?
Yeah.
Beto's is disgusting. They're closed down half the year because of like food safety violations. For those who don't know, Beto's is your local really trashy Mexican like food
No way.
restaurant. It's open
They're
24
closed down half the year because they can't keep up with supplies to how good
No,
it is,
dude.
and they sell out of stuff too fast.
They're shut down.
This is again a terrible thing by you. We ate at Beto's so much.
Oh, we
and-
ate there all the time, and I was sick all the time from it.
yeah, that's the other stomach issues you have, though.
No, I don't know. Maybe
Yeah,
that's
you-
where I got it from.
Yeah, you know what?
That
You
could be
know,
true.
You just have a weak bloodline.
Maybe.
Oh man, but no, man. Overall, show was amazing. It was really fun. I hadn't been to. I've probably only seen like actual death metal a couple of times, and it was usually like a mixed bill, like Black Dahlia or something was on a tour, or like 3 Inches of Blood or something came through, kind of thing.
Oof. There's a callback.
Which I was talking to our buddy last night, and apparently 3 Inches of Blood is rumored to be coming back. So get ready to kill those orcs.
Don't do that to me.
Dude,
better
people are
be
about
real.
to get 3 inches of this, if you know what I mean. If they
I
come
know,
back,
dude.
that's what I'm talking about.
Micro
So
everything.
Oh man. So some new music came out this week. Did you guys listen to anything?
That 4 Year
Uh,
Strong
yeah.
and the Ghost Inside singles. You go first, Kyle.
Well, it's a pretty simple opinion. They both sucked. So 4 Year Strong instrumentally sounded really good. I thought though that it was really repetitive and boring.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the same 4 lyrics through the whole song, and it was kind of boring. So
Right. This is a weird take for me. So the 4 Year Strong, I actually probably would not have minded it if their main lyrics didn't like swear like they do, which is odd because I have a pretty foul mouth 9 times out of 10. But when I'm listening to music, I don't want to listen to it.
I'm kind of the same way. Like, I actually don't care about language too much in it, but the way that they were saying it was just, I don't know, it rubbed me wrong a little bit.
Here's the thing. So, like, maybe you relate to this, Kyle. Like, well, both of you. This is music I can kind of put on in the car with my kids, and
Yes.
it's like
Mhm.
pretty easy on the ears, and everybody can get along. And I'm not getting yelled at by my wife every 5 seconds. Yeah, when I put that on, and I'm like, well, not going to do that because it's so clear
yeah,
that she's going to repeat it when she's at school, and then I'm going to have to figure out how to laugh about it later and then discipline her. The teacher isn't all
Well,
that homework, you know what I mean?
what's crazy about it too is like, how many albums does 4 Year Strong have now? 5, 6?
Something
Something
probably
like
six.
that?
Probably 6 if you include the cover album.
Maybe one song on each album says the F word. Maybe there's a couple albums
And that
doesn't
doesn't
say the
bother
F word.
me.
Right?
See,
No,
Brain
exactly.
Pain
But
actually did a little bit more.
okay,
Brain
but what
Pain
I'm
got a little bit more aggressive with it.
yeah, what I'm saying though is I compare it to like the new Under Oath albums where it's like I felt like they had to for some reason make it a point that they're saying the F word.
Yep.
And it's like
Yeah.
I don't care. Like I don't care that you say the F word in your songs, but it's like because Under Oath did that where I swear like all the music stopped when he said the F word because they wanted to like make it a point. And it's like I don't care. Like you don't have to
Right.
do that.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
felt
what
the
bugged
same
me
way
about
about.
this song.
I don't even remember what song it is, but I know what song you're talking about, and I felt the same way. I was like, it's odd.
It was
Yeah.
like when a 14-year-old decides to start swearing. That's what it is. You know what I mean?
You're using it in like the worst, like they're not even using it right.
It was
No.
like Kyle playing Halo 2. Like that's what it was.
Yeah, you know what I mean. As far as the Ghost Inside single, I liked it better than the last one that they released.
I do too.
I get we were kind of talking it through text, the digital feel. I mean, I like new metal, so that doesn't bother me, but it does kind of take away from how the Ghost Inside was in their earlier records. But I actually really liked as the song went on. Like they picked up the punk beats and added the melodies back in. I'm like, okay, this is the Ghost Inside to me. So I have high hopes that it goes farther that direction.
Yeah, the last single they released was very generic. It
Mhm.
sounded like everything else. This one actually at least sounded a little bit more unique. It sounded more like the Ghost Inside Phil. The sound
Mhm.
has changed, but what's their vocalist name? I don't remember his
Jonathan
name.
Vigil.
Yes, yeah. He's another vocalist who it's very clear what he's saying. He's got a good tone to it, and I really like his vocal style. So I actually got down with it pretty good. I enjoyed it. Impending Doom dropped a new single. You guys catch Impending
Yeah, I saw
Doom?
that. Hold on though. I
Yes.
want to flame the Ghost Inside a little bit.
Okay.
I haven't liked really anything from them since Fury and the Fallen Ones.
All right, terrible take on to Impending Doom.
Returners is all right.
Mm-hmm.
All right, the other ones
No,
I don't care at
Returners
all
was
about.
awesome, dude.
Returners is all right.
I
Yeah.
really liked that song, Engine 45. Definitely
I just
different, but like I could get down with that.
they just feel so commercialized now, like with that
Mhm.
stuff. I don't know.
One thing I would like to point out about this new single, though, because like you hear about the best drummer in the entire world that has lost a limb, and it's Def Leppard. Nah,
No,
it's this
this
dude.
guy.
This dude lost
it's
his
this
leg.
dude.
Have you listened to the drum work?
Yes, it is incredible.
That's all that's kind of going through my head. I'm like, the dude can play the exact same as he did before with one leg. I don't know if you know much about his like little setup that he has. His dad engineered it.
Yeah,
That's cool.
So it's custom to him. It's the only one that to ever exist. So like that's kind of cool to think about too. That like after their whole thing happened when they got in that accident, that his dad basically was like, "You're gonna play again, and I'm gonna find a way to make
Yeah.
sure."
No,
you
dude,
play."
mad
cool.
respect. Mad
Yeah.
respect.
no,
I just the single, like the last few songs, like the last singles they've released haven't really done it for me. It's been kind of boring. I will say though, like you said, Josh, the last half of Death Grip felt like the Ghost Inside. So
Mhm.
I'm cool with that, but I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. I missed Fury and the Fallen Ones, man. That album was just
that album was so
Yeah.
good.
too good.
So good. I
Did you-
listened to a ton of Returners though. I really like that album.
Do you remember that tour they played through here when they only had that record out and they weren't very
Yeah.
known?
Yeah.
It was with Confide, and Confide
Uh-huh.
had their original guitarist.
Yep.
And they played Too Many Grasshoppers to Maintain the Harvest.
That was a sweet show. Was that Maylene?
No, so it was Confide, The Ghost Inside, Bring Me the Horizon, and then oh my gosh, there was Misery Signals was supposed to play, and they didn't come to that date, and that was like the main reason I went.
The next time they came through, that was the show that Salt Lake had gotten really weird about the straight edge stuff. And a bunch of kids showed up in straight edge shirts, and the venue told them they wouldn't let them in. So the Ghost Inside gave a bunch of shirts to kids to get them in the venue,
Yep.
which was pretty dope. Back to new
I'd have
music.
gotten a shirt.
Did you guys check out Impending Doom?
I didn't, but I did see posts about it.
Yeah, same.
What were the posts?
Well, one was from Tommy Green saying it was super good. Him and Broke are really good friends. So, but
Okay.
I assume it's good.
I'm an Impending Doom fan. I really like deathcore, that kind of stuff. This song did not do it for me. It has some oddly placed fast breakdowns.
Mhm.
They kind of come out of nowhere, and they don't feel like they sit very well in the song, in my opinion. Like, if you take the sections around the breakdowns, I really like it. But those specific parts where they jump in and stuff like that, they just feel very out of place. It feels very disjointed to me. It wasn't a very good flowing song, in
Mhm.
my opinion.
I'm listening to it. The bass line in it is so freaking like overpowering.
Yeah, it's aggressive. So
Like you don't even hear the guitar; you just hear the bass line.
it's
what it
heavy,
feels like.
man. Like they're drop tuning, they're low these days. So you know,
Using
it'd
like
be-
he's using one of those strings that they use to hold up like power cables and stuff. It's like that's what he's playing on his bass.
Probably. I wouldn't doubt if they're playing on 7 strings.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. It's heavy, but no, it was interesting. It was good to an extent. I'm curious at what the rest of the album will sound like. It's gonna be a deathcore album.
And that's what I was about to say is can you differentiate any of it?
I mean,
No.
can you differentiate? Well, I shouldn't say that. Never mind. I'm not gonna do that.
Differentiate your mom? What are you saying?
From Josh's mom, right? No, I'm just kidding.
Wow. Mother is a saint.
That's the weird no mercy, dude. Just right had nothing to do with it. Just right at Josh's mom. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's also
no,
what
I
Trevor
mean,
said about Josh's mom, but
a lot of deathcore, bro. Like it sounds the same, right? A lot of it sounds the same. Really, what it comes down to is typically it's the different vocalists that kind of sets the different bands apart. I like Brooks a lot. That's part of why I like Impending Doom so much. Is because of his style and his vocals. I don't know.
yeah.
I'm gonna be interested. So
Well, you'll have to let us know.
I will. For sure. Anything else new that you guys checked out? No.
Not really. It's been kind of
Nope.
I'm waiting for Manic Hispanic to drop that single. All I'm waiting for.
There he is,
Well,
dude. He's all up on ska music now.
I have been listening to Real Big Fish.
Oh, dude.
Dude, I'm telling you, check out Bad Operation. It's so good.
Let me see what I've listened to real quick.
Josh, Kyle and I had a conversation about like the styles of ska, and he was saying he's not a big fan of like the 90s like ska music in the movies kind of thing. What's your opinion?
What do you mean?
Like, are you dressing? Okay, what type of ska do you like? Like reggae influenced, or you look like you should be bowling at a bowling alley?
Bowling alley.
Okay, well,
Sorry.
I'm not the bowling alley guy.
What was the right answer?
I'm with you, Josh. I'm with you, man. I want to see the bowling alley.
You guys are wearing suspenders with like
Okay,
the
here's the
off
thing.
checkered shirt and the fedora.
But here's the thing. That to me, that's almost like flogging Molly and the Dropkick Murphys type of stuff.
Yeah, I picked Dropkick Murphys, which is more punk.
Okay, but you said
Get your
reggae,
words out,
so
bro.
I'm thinking like Bob Marley, high as crap, and is like Hut playing a ukulele.
Don't you dare back. Hold on. Are you attacking Bob Marley? Because
No, I'm
Can't
just
do
saying
that.
I'm not into that.
okay,
He can do whatever he wants, but he sucks.
He can't do whatever he wants. He's dead.
He's actually
We should get into the topic that we were going to
Yes.
talk about today.
From mellow and ska to pop punk, we're talking neck deep today. I know I teased at the end of last episode that we might be talking about a metalcore band, but no, we're going pop punk today.
They're
So
metalcore.
Did you
if you
listen
want
to
to talk about the song with architect Sam Carter on it, then sure, we can do that.
I hope you listened to the right band.
Oh.
That Neck Deep.
Oh.
They're called Nips Deep. Wrong band.
Anyways, what do you guys think? I know that like I'm a huge fan of Neck Deep. I got really into Neck Deep on Life Is Not what's the album called? Yeah, Life's Not Out to Get You. That album is absolutely phenomenal in my opinion. And so that was like the first one I bought, but I had listened to Rain in July. I had listened to Some Wishful Thinking, but that album like put them on a pedestal for me. I love Neck Deep. Where do you guys stand with these guys?
Neck Deep is good, but they're just, to me, just another generic pop punk band. Like it's all been done before. Like anything I listened to, nothing just really like I was like, wow. Yeah, it was just like this is good, but it's just pop punk. It's just I could put it on just work or whatever, but it wasn't like you should really check these guys out. So,
But can't you say that about like any genre today? I mean, isn't that what we say about metalcore? It was good, but it's just another metalcore album. It was good, but it's just another deathcore album. So like at what point is it like how do you get out of your head that they're according to you a Newfound Glory and a Saves the Day rip off to their Neck Deep and their music is their own kind of thing? How do you do that?
I think Newfound Glory and Saves the Day wrote way better songs than Neck Deep by a long shot. They didn't necessarily have to be more pop punk. They were just they're stuck in my brain. I can remember 90% of Newfound Glory and Saves the Day, and I had only heard it, once or twice. With Neck Deep, it's good, but like there's so much going on where I'm like, none of it's really sticking. But I don't know if that's necessarily like what you were saying about Dying Fetus. Like Dying Fetus to you is like what Cannibal Corpse was to the generation before you. So like to me, listening to Neck Deep is just like another pop punk band, but maybe that's because I'm like, nah, man, Newfound Glory and Saves the Day for me were like the goats of pop punk, and so to me that's just like where I'm stuck. Because I go, yeah, it's just another album. Then I go back to listen to Newfound Glory, Sticks and Stones album or Catalyst.
Kyle, rebuttal.
I get what Josh is saying, and he's got a point. And I don't know that it's bad though that like these bands. I don't know. All right, look, Neck Deep's all right. They're all right. Their first two albums are pretty good. I think there's better pop punk out there.
And that's the end of the podcast.
Yeah. So Rain in July is really good. Wishful Thinking's really good. The next three albums, I felt like they tried to do something that they weren't. I don't like sad boy pop punk. That's like what they've categorized these people as, where it's just like a bunch of whiny guys singing about stupid girls. I'm not a huge fan of like sad boy pop punk. Maybe Newfound Glory is fine because I feel like a lot of their songs are like that. But I think pop punk is best when it's not taking itself too serious. And I felt like a lot of their stuff, like the middle three albums, they tried to take themselves too serious, and I felt like that's when it became really generic, not fun pop punk. So
well, I'm glad you just said generic because these guys are the kings of generic. They have actually labeled themselves as generic pop punk. And I think that they're interesting, right? Because they're very self-deprecating. They know that pop punk is not going to blow you away. It's not something that's like meant to be like overly thoughtful, right? It's supposed to be something that's easy to listen to, that you can sing along with, that's about your girlfriend breaking up with you. It's about your friends in your hometown. It's the what's the kid's name who's on YouTube where he does like Chodzilla and Sunrise Skater Kids and Jared Alonji. Yeah. It's meant to be silly. It's meant to be easy. You know what I mean? And these guys have like crowned that, right? They're always like F Neck Deep, like they're crap, generic pop punk, all
Hmm.
that kind of stuff. They're very self-deprecating that way. Where I'll disagree with you, Josh, is I think their lyrics are very catchy. And that's actually why I really enjoy these guys is I can sing along to these guys like almost through their entire discography.
Hmm.
I've listened to them a ton. I'll be honest. Like I listen to Neck Deep a lot. Because again, like you were mentioning before, you can put it on in the car and don't have to worry too much about what's going on. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Here's where I want to pick your brain though about what's
Yeah.
catchy. Like they can be catchy, right? If I were to play My Friends Over You from Newfound Glory,
Yeah.
say if you were to play it to 20 people, how many people do you think would remember that chorus after hearing it one time? Because it's
Okay.
just simple, right? So that's like the point of being like catchy. How many times did you have to listen to a Neck Deep song before like you kind of caught on to what they were saying to remember like a good lyric?
Well, it's because they're from Wales, and so you can't understand them anyways.
Well, let's be honest. Once you start singing, everyone's American.
So that's when I say catchy, that's what I'm defining as catchy. What like the same thing like I say about Hawthorne Heights all the time. Terrible lyric, but it's stuck in your brain, and
And
everybody knew it for
and that's the question that I was going to ask you as well, Trevor. Just piggybacking off what Josh said is, what is it then that like caught you
yeah.
so
What
much
what
with these
caught you
guys?
onto them? Like what makes them catchy to you?
Because I'm the same with Josh. Like I'll listen to Newfound Glory before I'll listen to these guys. I'll listen to 4 Year Strong. I'll listen to Set Your Goals. I'll listen to other stuff like that.
Sure.
Why these guys?
So the album Life's Not Out to Get You, they dropped the song Gold Steps. That was the single off of it. That was the one that they did the music video for. That song is phenomenal. It's just
Mhm.
such a good song. So I based off that song alone, I went and bought the album. Again, I had listened to Wishful Thinking, I had listened to Rain in July. So I knew who Neck Deep was, and the new album dropped, so I went and bought it. And immediately coming out, Citizens of Earth, it's one of the most aggressive songs that Neck Deep puts out. And it's still like pop punk, right? It's much more punk at that point. But then it immediately, Threat Level Midnight, went into a fast, upbeat pop punk song. And so, like, they snagged my attention with this album very fast. And I put this album on repeat pretty quick after buying it. And dude, I don't know. Like, I think that their lyrics, they stuck in my brain pretty dang quick. The first time I heard Cali Ma, it's a song about Indiana Jones. Like,
Mhm.
it's freaking dope. I'll be honest, I sing Cali Ma to my kids as their bedtime song. Like, that's the level of love that I have for Neck Deep. Like, I'm trying to, I don't know, because like the other stuff that was coming out at the time, other than like the story so far, it was very poppy. Like State Champs,
Mhm.
way more poppy than these
Yeah.
guys.
Mhm.
And so I think that these guys kind of bridged a gap between a State Champs and the story so far for me because I like the story so far. I actually love the story so far now, but at that time, I didn't like the story so far as much as I do today. These
Mhm.
guys bridged that gap for me.
Okay. I
That's
agree
actually
with that.
like a really cool point because you're right. I think when we really got into pop punk was like a little bit after Blink, right? Where you, I
Mhm.
think, had a lot more hardcore influence. You know, like Newfound Glory, 4 Year Strong, even bands like. Did you guys ever get into This Time Next Year?
Yeah.
And I know A Loss for Words was like maybe not the heaviest, but they're like a straight edge band.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, so like they rolled with that crowd, and so like we grew up in a generation of pop punk that was very hardcore influenced. But then I felt like it kind of moved away from that, and you were getting these types of bands like you said, State Champs, Seaway, Real Friends, stuff like that. That like
Yeah.
it was pop punk, but with a capital P in the pop, not capital P in the punk. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And so that's probably why like I never really got into these guys, because they did bridge a gap, you're right, but to me it was like this still isn't the pop punk that I grew up with. And I know everyone like when in our generation listening to Newfound Glory was like, well, this isn't the pop punk I grew up with. You
Right.
know?
Yeah.
It's not that crappy band Blink 182. So
Well, maybe I'll give you this point of view on it.
In case anyone's wondering, when Josh says hold on, he's got a mouse running around his house and it scurries through the room and he's currently looking for the mouse. So that's what the delay is.
Dude, we actually put mouse poison out because I'm over it.
just buy a snake.
Okay. Buy a snake? Wow.
Have you ever seen tangent? Have you seen the video of the hole in the wall where the dude puts a snake in there?
Python in there? Yeah.
It's freaking nuts.
No.
Anyways.
Okay. Here's maybe this kind of perspective, maybe where my brain comes from. So like when Newfound Glory came out, you had like, okay, so like Blink-182 to your point, but Blink-182 was good, but Blink-182 was like the dirty pop punk. You weren't getting their record when you were before, what was it?
No, mom would throw it away, right?
Right. Like you weren't getting that.
Yeah.
So you were pressing record on the radio with a tape player, to get the edited version. Sum 41 was the punk band at that time, like the generic popular punk band. What else did you have? You had Story of the Year was a little bit later, but they were
came out around the same time as these guys.
They were kind of like more of like a heavier rock band. Yellow Card was like rock. You know what I mean? And Newfound Glory was just like had like a different style of vocalist. Like I don't know if you guys used to make fun of how they sounded, but I used to like plug my nose and stuff like and sing My Friends Over You because that's just what he sounded like,
Yeah.
But they were just, I'm like, wow, you can't get more pop punk than that, And then Saves the Day was even like the underground hardcore kids in a pop punk band to me. That's how I kind of viewed them. But then like when Neck Deep came out, or even the Story So Far, where I bridged a lot of gaps with the band Defeater to kind of like get me into like more hardcore stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of went the other way with pop punk when Title Fight came out. And that's what kind of opened the doors for me to like Balance and Composure and those kinds of bands. And I just kind of went that route. So when like Neck Deep came out, I was just like, nah, Newfound Glory's there and no one's taking their spot. I'm going to go listen to Title Fight now. So it was just kind of just like, but I do like Neck Deep more than State Champs. And the other thing I will say about Neck Deep's album artwork is awesome.
Yeah.
Dude. Yeah. That cover is so dope. I really enjoy that. Yeah. I think that's what it was. I think that, and to your point, Josh, Newfound Glory, they're the GOATs, right? I don't know. Can you say there is a better pop punk band than Newfound Glory?
I think if you were to ask the older generation, they would tell you H2O.
It's pop punk?
Yeah.
You're pretty heavy punk there.
I'm just saying you would probably get H2O.
Okay.
But I mean, out of that generation though, that is like the pop punk for them, as punk as they are.
That's true. I guess that's true if you want to look at it that way. Because punk back then was a different style of punk than what you'd consider punk today. So no, that's fair. In my opinion, Newfound Glory, for the scene that we're in, the hardcore scene and stuff like that, they are the best pop punk band. They bridge that gap. Hardcore kids come out for them. Everyone gets down to them. There's moshing, there's dancing for them, all that good stuff. They did go through a rough patch. I did not like Radio Surgery. And that is right before these guys came out.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a gap in my mind of needing to be filled. And these guys filled that gap for me very well. Like I said, I feel like these guys have a much more kind of throwback pop punk feel than like the State Champs or the other more poppy pop punk bands coming out at the time. You mentioned like Real Friends and stuff like that. That's the sad boy stuff to me. yeah, these guys talk about girls and stuff like that, but they have a heavier feel to them, in my opinion. They don't get to the story so far, heavy feel, but they do have a heavier feel to them.
Yeah, but even the story so far, you're what, 2 albums that are actually heavy ish?
Yeah, but we're talking about like
All
at
right.
this time, right?
Okay.
Up until about 2015,
Yeah.
which is when these albums are together. I guess we should clarify that. So these guys started in 2012 is when they first came out. Their first EP was Rain in July. I think it was 5 songs. They then did A History of
7.
Bad Decisions, which they combined into a full album, but it's really just 2 EPs. And then there was Wishful Thinking in 2014 was their first actual full length album. Life's Not Out to Get You was 2015. So there was that period of time, I'd say probably like 2009-ish. Because what was the album that Newfound put out that had the like Civil War situation on the front? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's my favorite album, but I can't remember. It's
It's
the one that's got
exact-
Listen to Your Friends and
Yes. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Not Without a Fight. God,
Not Without a Fight. That album was fantastic. Radio Surgery, not great.
Yep.
And so there was a gap right there that if I'm going to listen to pop punk needed to be filled, at least with new music, unless I'm going back. And at the time I was still getting into new bands and stuff like that. And so these guys slotted in very well during that period.
You're right. In 2010, I guess after Not Without a Fight, from Newfound Glory's Not Without a Fight, there was nothing else in the pop punk realm that was like that. So
Right.
I agree with you. And like I said, Rain in July and Wishful Thinking, great albums. You guys know that I'm weird and I've got big playlists. I do have almost like a 1,500 song pop punk playlist. Those albums are both on there. So like I like those albums. It's just hard, especially after Wishful Thinking. It's hard to really get into these guys. But
Okay.
I'm
So what about, because you've listened to the full albums now, why couldn't you get into Life's Not Out to Get You? I guess that's my question for you guys. What about it couldn't you get into? Is it just
felt
too
really poppy.
generic?
felt really
Oh,
poppy.
So I wouldn't even really say like I couldn't get into it because I think they're good. They're just, I don't know. There's not anything that's just really sticking. Like they have a couple songs, and you know these guys way better than I do. And I will say, even though listening to them throughout the week, it's really hard for me to like memorize songs and stuff like that.
Sure.
But like I could tell you, like Rain in July, I remember a lot. Going back listening to it, I remember a lot off this album. So because I will say, and Cheyenne is on your side. My wife, she loves Neck Deep.
Let's go.
Absolutely loves Neck Deep. Every time they come on, I'm like, oh, cool, another Newfound Glory band cover song. You know, I always
Generic
get
pop
for
punk,
it.
bro.
But yeah, so Rain in July, that we listened to a lot, especially when we first got together. Nothing really stuck with me for Wishful Thinking. Like there just wasn't really anything that kind of like grabbed my mind. But then Life's Not Out to Get You, I thought was good. And The Peace and the Panic, I thought was good.
Oh, interesting.
I didn't mind that one all. I didn't listen to All Distortions Are Internal or Intentional, but I did start listening to the 2024 album, the singles off of that.
Okay.
But I don't know. It just, like I say, I feel like it had all been done before. Like every song I could listen to, I was like, it's good, but I've heard this. And that's honestly what it makes it really hard for me to get into any new band, no matter the genre that comes out now.
So that's a good point, Josh. Rain in July and Wishful Thinking sound like Neck Deep.
Mm-hmm.
Life's Not Out to Get You, The Peace and Panic, and All Distortions Are Intentional sound like other bands.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Peace and the Panic to me reminds me of a Blink-182 album.
Okay.
And maybe that's why I couldn't get into it. Yeah. The All Distortions Are Intentional. Some of those songs, I don't.
Listen, that's like a pop album. That's not a pop punk album. It's a pop album.
It's like acoustic guitar overlays in all their songs. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
even feel like a pop punk. But see, that's what I'm saying though, is like those 3 albums to me sound like other bands, sound like other
Okay.
music. The first 2 albums sound like Neck Deep. They sound original. They sound different. Losing Teeth, such a freaking good song.
That's
Such a
amazing.
good song.
Mhm.
And it is unique. And you put that on, Josh, like you were saying before, and you're like, yeah, this is Neck Deep. I know the words. Because it comes out swinging. It's such a good song.
Mm-hmm.
Those other albums, I'm like, yeah, I've heard this before. This doesn't sound like Neck Deep. This sounds like someone else. Change your name.
Okay. I can understand what you're saying. I'll disagree on Life's Not Out to Get You. So the one thing is about their first 2 EPs and then that Wishful Thinking album is Ben's vocals are very raw on those albums. He sounds like a different person once you get to Life's Not Out to Get You. Whether it's how they recorded, he just got better, whatever it was, he sounds different, which actually makes a very distinct line. So I agree with you with that those first 2 albums are very unique to themselves. But I think that the music wise, it didn't stray that far. I think it's vocally different.
Mm-hmm.
I think that music wise though, it was actually pretty close. And then like, I don't know. The one thing about this album, Life's Not Out to Get You, is so this was recorded in Florida with Jeremy from A Day to Remember and Tom Denny and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So they've got their fingerprints all over it. So when
Yeah.
you want to talk about pop punk and stuff like that, if you take A Day to Remember's pop punk stuff, it sounds a lot like this album. And so you can see their influence. You can see their fingerprints all over this album. Funny story, Gold Steps. A lot of this was done by Tom Denny. He helped write this song and he has gold teeth. And I was listening to an interview and they said originally the song was going to be called Gold Pegs, but the US doesn't know what pegs are because that's what they call teeth in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
They call them pegs. So they're just like, well, we're not calling them gold effing pegs. So I guess it's Gold Steps now. So gold is in reference to Tom Denny for it, which I thought was pretty dope.
That's funny.
And then December, man, December's such a good song. And it got remixed by the dude from Dashboard and then again by Mark Hoppus. Like, even those remixes are super solid. I think that was a really cool song that they did 3 different ways.
Mm-hmm.
I love that album. I can sing that album almost front to back. The Peace and the Panic. So, Josh, you actually said you didn't mind this one. What did you like about it and what didn't you like about it? Because it definitely has high and low points.
So, mind you, so like when I listen to these albums, I'm just at work, right? So they're just kind of put on. I'm just kind of listening to them. What I liked, I think it had a really good flow. Like I could put on, I just put it on shuffle, so it didn't even play front to back, and I just let it play through. And like there wasn't really a song that I wasn't like wanting to like change. There wasn't really a song I wanted to go back and re-listen to, but I could just put it on and like it was just good to listen. Like I thought I had really good flow. There wasn't like a really good high low. It was just kind of that was the problem that I felt like that I had with Wishful Thinking.
Okay.
I found myself starting to skip songs because I was just like, nah, I need something a little more.
So is it because it got repetitive on Wishful Thinking? Because that is the one thing I will say about that album is it is straight pop punk bangers the whole way through.
Mm-hmm. It could be. Like I say, like I'm sure Wishful Think. Like let's put it this way: if I were to listen to Wishful Thinking more, I'd probably have like a different opinion. But definitely listening to it, once, it was just kind of like I just kind of jumbled around. Like I didn't like I say, like when I put it on shuffle, I found myself like skipping through songs, and then I kind of went through it a lot faster than I thought. But then they say Life's Not Out to Get You and The Peace and the Panic. I put those on. I was like, I'm good with this.
And then Kyle, you didn't care for these ones. So what didn't catch you? with this.
So Life's Not Out to Get You's not the worst. It's fine.
Okay.
I'll listen to it. I don't really have problems with it. I just don't think it's as good as Rain in July or Wishful Thinking.
I think that's my
Piece-
favorite album art.
Which one?
Life's Not Out to
Oh.
Get You.
It's the best
that's cool.
album art for sure. Peace in the Panic's kind of right after it, and then Zoltar, in my opinion.
I just feel like there's like in the Peace and the Panic, there's too many like it felt like a Blink album. Too many of those like slower singy songs. You know what I mean?
See, and this is actually why I like this album. Is it was different. They changed it up. The first time I listened to this album, I was like, yeah, no, I'm probably done with Neck Deep. And I didn't really give them a listen for a while. But then I started going back through, and you've got like Parachute. It's like a straight pop song, right? This was their attempt at making it on the radio after December. Is Parachute was like that attempt at we're making it mainstream.
Yeah.
But then you have Don't Wait on there featuring Sam Carter from Architects. That was fast, it was aggressive, it got heavy. And I liked this, felt like not that it's post-hardcore, right? But it had that feel to it. You had very aggressive songs and you had slower songs that like you get from a post-hardcore album. And that's what I actually ended
Yeah.
up really liking about this album.
So I'm not really against like slower pop punk songs because I think when the Story So Far did it, it actually worked really well for them. Like I think Proper Dose is a dope album from the Story So Far. I just don't feel like it worked for Neck Deep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is a hard dude. Honestly, like this is a hard band for me. And Josh has said it like 100 times right now. We've been talking. They're not bad. Like they're not bad at all.
Sure.
It just doesn't do it for me. And I can't explain, like I can't really explain it. Because their
I
first two
gotcha.
albums, like I pop those on all the time. They're great.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of it, like I don't know why. Because it's like
It just doesn't
one
catch
thing-
you.
right. One thing that bugs me about Neck Deep, I'll listen to another band and it doesn't bug me with them. You know what I mean? Like I
Okay.
can't explain it. I can't explain it.
There-
So
People have those bands. There's some bands that people are just like, yeah, like everyone jives with them, and I just don't.
yeah. Well,
You know what I mean?
like honestly,
I
like
mean, Kyle, your list is getting pretty big now. Talking about Blink-182, Green Day, Neck Deep now, right? Like,
well, I would listen to Neck Deep before I listen to Blink. But look at Josh.
Come on.
Listen, the Wonder Years was a band for me that I could never get into.
I love the
Neither.
Wonder Years.
When I saw that Anxious was playing with them and I went back and listened to The Greatest Generation, it did it for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, like I don't know. Like I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about Neck Deep. I don't know that if in 10 years or whatever, or when I go see them with Drain, because I'm gonna go see them with Drain, because I want
Yeah.
to see Drain and Higher Power. I don't know if it's gonna click with me then, you know? I don't know.
I freaking love the Wonder Years, and I love Neck Deep. Okay, so this is the thing, okay? December made it very big. That Mark Hoppus remix and stuff like that, it put them on the map. But it was kind of a weird time because that stuff all happened right before the Peace and the Panic came out. So I think that most of the Peace and the Panic was probably done before that all hit. So like Parachute on this album and In Bloom, those are the next songs that are trying to like take it mainstream. Also like Wish You Were Here. They're slower, they cater to more audience and stuff like that. After this, they dropped the single She's a God. Did you guys listen to that?
Yeah, I've heard that song.
Mm-mm.
It like, dude, they screwed up so bad. like, like you look at even the cover of She's a God right there. They tried to be mainstream icons. You know what I mean? They tried to bring back the 90s. They tried to go into just of a more like rock sound and stuff like that. Again, like all distortions are intentional. I can listen to it. Like I said, I like Neck Deep, and I actually found myself liking it more listening to it over the last couple weeks. This stuff's not great.
Yeah, I agree.
Any opinion?
Oh, I thought we
Josh?
lost you again.
Let's say I didn't really get to listen to that album too much.
Okay. 90s alternative almost at
Dude, I
times.
feel like I should be listening to Lifehouse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look at
Come on,
Josh.
man.
I'd rather be listening
Racing
to Lifehouse.
over you.
They just like they tried to play into that style, that music, all of that so hard, and it didn't work. There is extreme mixed reviews on this album. Some people love it because they're like, look at the progression, look at the development. The music is actually pretty technical. It sounds good and stuff like that. But then there's the people who are like, yeah, this isn't the same band. They should have changed their name and done something else. No, just
It
kidding.
it wasn't that drastic though. It really wasn't.
It wasn't that great. The lyrics weren't that good. It wasn't that great. I don't know. Even listening to interviews with Ben Barlow, their vocalist, recently, he has made several comments multiple times that was like, we tried something, we had to get it out of our system. We're gonna make a banging pop punk album again.
Yeah.
That's
And
called
we're on.
what we did didn't work, so we'll just go back to doing the same thing.
Yeah,
I
seriously.
mean, more or less, that's what they've admitted to. Like, that's basically what he said. He's like, it was a creative direction we chose to go. And yeah, we floundered.
Slap
So-
that thing in reverse and we're
No
going
way.
back.
They wanted to try and make more money, and they ended up making less. So
Yep.
Probably.
It didn't hit. Now, that being said, in all fairness, this was their COVID album, right? This was 2020. They couldn't tour on it. They couldn't really do anything with it. Who knows? Maybe this album would have blown up in a different time. My opinion, it's not good. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say that. Like, it's fine. It's not great compared to any of their other stuff.
COVID was probably a blessing for this album. Be like, look, guys, this thing sucks. You should not tour on it.
Yeah, they just like sweep it under the rug.
Let's just blame COVID on Nick.
Look, man, we all had 105-degree fevers when we wrote it. That's what we're gonna say, and we'll just
You are neck deep into this terrible album. You need to take it out.
No.
All right, I think we're starting to come up on time and stuff, but I wanted to point this out, which I thought was really interesting. So they start 2012ish.
Yeah.
So 2012 and 2013, they didn't really tour very much from what I've seen. So it's like 2012, 2 recorded shows. And I'm sure they played a whole bunch of local ones, right? So this is like actual like stuff that you would actually go through the effort of recording somewhere, right?
Sure.
2 in 2012.
Mhm.
2013, 21. And I think the ones in 2013 are pretty much all like UK
Okay.
UK stuff and UK bands. Freaking 2014 happens, they tour 163 dates. All right, so they go from nothing to 163 dates. Check out this lineup. Real Friends, not a huge fan of. Cruel Hand, Have Mercy, which I think Have Mercy is awesome if you guys haven't listened to them, and then Neck Deep. What a lineup.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that's like
Weird
musical
lineup too,
whiplash.
though. Yeah.
What? Yeah, it's like musical whiplash lineup, dude. Because Real Friends, you have like really poppy pop punk. Cruel Hand is like I'm gonna die. Have Mercy's like that's like stuff you listen to around a campfire. You know,
Yeah.
it's like pretty chill, like indie-ish type music, and then a pop punk band. I don't know. I think that's super cool. I think it says a lot about them. I think they're pretty close to Drain because they're touring with Drain, and I know Drain has covered a few shows for them. But like, dude, 2014, 163 shows. 2015, 134, 136, 114. I mean, these guys came out of nowhere and then got huge.
Yeah.
So
And one thing that they actually said about that is it's different in the UK. They said they didn't have a local scene. They actually hated their local scene, is what they said. Like the venues and the promoters and stuff like that just were crappy to bands and stuff like that. So they almost boycotted. And so
Huh.
they actually came to the US often just because of that. And they said, you know, we didn't mean to blow up internationally. It just happened because we didn't want to play in our town. So
Interesting.
like really crazy, really interesting that way. Um, but no, they came out of really nowhere and
Yeah.
went hard. And if you've looked into the history of like the original members and stuff like that, most of them came from metalcore, hardcore backgrounds are the types of bands that they were playing in. Did you ever listen to like Spire? The other band was it was Spire and Climates, but then Climates changed their name and they were something else.
Wait,
I don't know.
Climate changed their name?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, they were melodic hardcore, like and heavy stuff.
Yeah,
So
I'm not surprised by it at all. You know.
it's
So,
interesting for sure. Um, Last thing here, just like what do you guys think about the new singles? So they've got 4 new singles out: "Heartbreak of the Century," "Meet You There," "Take Me With You," and "It Won't Be Like This Forever." What do you guys think?
I like them. Definitely
Oh,
reminds me of the older stuff.
Mhm.
yeah, no, it definitely feels like a throwback to probably "Life's Not Out to Get You," um, even more so than "The Peace and the Panic." I think that "Heartbreak of the Century" and STFU, those are the two that are like I really enjoy those ones. The other two are more poppy, and so I've got a little bit of concern about that. But "Heartbreak of the Century" and STFU, huge fan of those two.
I did like the music video with the aliens.
Yeah, "Take Me
Yeah,
With You."
I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah,
And that's what I'm saying, dude, is like when they aren't taking themselves serious, that's the best neck deep, you know.
for sure, for sure. So I'm super stoked for them. New albums coming out at the first of the year. I'm sure we'll probably get another single or two along the way. And then these guys are starting to blow up on the doing feature stuff. They did a feature with a band called Busted out of the UK, which apparently my wife is a fan of, that I've never heard in my life, kind of thing. So, uh, but no, I really like Neck Deep. I might be the only one that listens to this that likes Neck Deep the way I do. But like I said, I'll continue to sing Kali Ma to my kids at nighttime. So
Do it. And I would lay money that me and Josh are the minorities here.
I don't sing Kalima to my kids at night. I sing what is it?
Take me
Um,
higher.
yeah, that.
Cool.
all right, peace.
Later. Bye.
Bye.